What is going on, everybody? Mateo, how you doing? I think we're just about ready. Oh, you know what? I did forget one thing, though. Hang on. If I go right in here, pardon me for just a second, while I do this, and then that, and then that. I think that gets it. Beautiful. Oh, God. Are we good? I think we're good. I don't know why this game is set up. I mean, there could be a setting for it. If there is, I'll try to find it. But I think there's no way to turn off TrackIR when you're third person. What in the world? It's a great game. It does its thing, you know. But I really would not have thought that a Microsoft title... Well, I don't know. Maybe I should have thought that. I would not have thought that a Microsoft title would be this problematic. This game's been out for 6 months, and it still feels like beta some days. But I did get it running. Sort of. We'll see if we can keep that going. Right. Let's hop in here, first person. And we're on the ground in Liverpool. Shellington on console. No, I did not hear that, but that is fantastic news. That's a great map. I'm glad they were able to get that worked out. That'd be very disappointing if that map was limited to PC only. Good deal. Right, so today we are, let me go back out here. We are in our King Air 350. We're going to fly from Liverpool, which is one of the, they say, one of the new hand-built airports in Flight Sim. This is part of the UK and Ireland DLC, or UK and Ireland pack that dropped a few days ago. It's freeware. If you own the game, you get it. You don't have to buy it or anything, but you do have to download it. I think it's like 5 gig. It's on the Mod Hub. Awesome. That is very, very cool. I'm glad they got that worked out. I know modders can be a little bit, you know what I mean? They can be sort of that way. In fairness, devs can be a little difficult too. So I'm going to stay off ATC today. ATC in this game drives me absolutely crazy. So let's at least figure out, well, let's get this turned on.
Engaging autopilot.
There we are. I'm going to turn this down. The truck in front, does it have beacons? Probably. They're not turned on at the moment. You know what, though? We can, we might be able to find a way to activate those. So if we go here, and we go here, ground services. Ground services, I said. Give it. Why is this fighting me so hard right now? Fuel supply. Let's see. We get a fuel truck. Fuel truck is on the road. Fantastic, but it's not this one. I wonder if this is... Oh, this is our power cart. Let's see if we can get our power cart backed up. Yeah, no ground power. If we were in a bigger plane, Mateo, this little crew cab over here would be our power truck. That would be our APU. We got a little forklift. There's a fuel truck coming from somewhere. I don't know where. I hear it. Maybe? No. I don't know. We'll see if it shows up. So we're going to fly from here to Dublin in the King Air. I was going to do the whole flight in... There it is. And there he goes. There he goes. Nope, they're coming around. I was going to do the whole flight in the 172 in the Skyhawk, but that would take forever. That would take absolutely forever. So let's see how we want to do this. I mean, if we fire up avionics, I don't want to drain the batteries here. And as sort of dumbed down as this title is, it does have some odd details. And one of the things is it will drain the battery if you sit with the batteries on and the engine's not running for too long. And let me see where this fuel truck is now. All right, directly behind us. We'll keep working here, and then when we're done, we'll send them away before we push back. Still working on our TAWS test. We need to go here. We need to make this FMS. Yeah, we'll just dismiss that. Don't need that right now. And then we can get rid of that. And we want, let's go to our middle avionics panel here, and that is right here, and we want to split, and we want flight plan, and we want procedures, and we want departure from Liverpool. I mean, does it matter? Does it even matter? Let's just take it. Yeah, that works. It sends us out the end of 2-7, and then we'll make a, looks like a right turn. Ernie, what's happening? How you doing? Okay, so that is, that's in. Easy enough. Done. And we'll go back here. We'll go back here. So that's plugged in now. And like I said, I'm not going to mess with ATC. It just drives me crazy. So we're heading out on 2-7. And 2-7 is going to be back here. So if we push back, we can go left or right. Let's go back and to the left. JFK style. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Okay. So we'll go here. Call for pushback. Fuel supply is gone already because we didn't use it. Ground services. Is it? Oh god. All right. It's not even. It's not even going to give it to us. It's not going to give us pushback until we. And why are these blinking? Hang on. Let me do something here. Let me do that. See if that helps. There we go. This game, I swear, man, this game is so broken. All right, there's Edoras. 2992. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many times I can click this and have it not not do anything. I don't know, man. So it's not going to let us push back. Yeah, it's not going to give us push back and start until we get clearance. But we cannot get clearance. This game, man, it is so frustrating. Avionics is on, power is on, radio is on. I mean, I can't really start engines. There's no way to like do that safely. But I'm at a loss. I don't know. You just want to drive the truck? It looks like it's about to click. You know, it sort of pauses. And then it just doesn't give it. All right, screw it. Let's just go back to the main menu. I did have, first time today, I had CTD since I got the game working again. I reinstalled it about a week ago. I had many CTD. I finally gave up and uninstalled, reinstalled twice. And we want to be over here somewhere. There we go. And we're going to Dublin. Dublin, we want low altitude airways. It's something else. It really is. And what did we just pick for our departure? I like that one. We took the was it the Nan T? What was it? I could have sworn we had, was it the Bart? It's not that one. The pole. That's the only one left. Nope, it's not that one. There we go. There's a good one. And for our approach, what do we want? ILS 28. And then even the menus, like, I don't know if you can see this, but this little bar to slide the flight plan back and forth, the routing is exactly under one of these. So it's like everything about it is just so poorly designed. You know what? We can take that one because it'll take us out over a little bit more land. Okay, let's do it. All right. Cross your fingers. Cover your ears. Here we go. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's fun for VFR, but even VFR sometimes doesn't work. It's They really did. I think they just concentrated all of their effort on the way the game looks, and it does look amazing. You cannot argue with that. I don't think anybody would dispute that this is... It's got to be one of the prettiest games of 2020. Arguably one of the prettiest games ever, but in terms of, like, sanding off those rough corners, no, they did not do that at all. Not even a little bit, but once we get it working, we should be okay. And I did do... Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was being upset about. I did get everything installed. It took many, many reinstalls, but I did get everything working. And at that point, I was not having CTD, and then all of a sudden, started having CTD again. So hopefully it holds up this time. All right, so we're doing our TAWS test. All right, and while we're doing that, come up here. And if I can't get clearance, then, I don't know, we'll just hop in the truck sim or something. There we go. Yeah, wait for it to go on sale, if it ever does. Alright. Oh my god. So I picked flight plan. We have no weather selected, right? We've got sunny skies, and the altimeter is 2992. So there is no weather, right? It's just a beautiful day in July. All day, every day. I selected runway 27 departure. And now it's got us going out on runway 9. It's just... I know people say it's fun for VFR, but for me it's not even fun for VFR, because it's like, you just end up fighting the game. You know, you can literally turn ATC off, but like I said, I was trying to skip ATC, and it was not, because I didn't have clearance, it was not giving me an opportunity to push back. All right, so now we got to go back in here, stand by, and find a... We got to go here first, and we need to find a good departure from runway 9 now. Procedures. Departure. I don't even know, man. It's not letting me select the runway. What do you do? You know, what do you do with this? It's just broken. Okay. I mean, we'll just take off on runway 9 and flip around backwards. What else can we do? All right, and we want to be... Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so we want... No. What were we on? There we go. But... What in the world? So it just gave us direct routing? I don't know, man. So our departure is good now. Oh, that's a mess. All right, we'll sort it out when we get in the air. Can't be bothered. All right. So back up here now. And let's see if it gives us pushback. If it doesn't give us pushback, we're driving the truck. There we go.
Liverpool ground, TPG-13, requesting pushback. TPG-13, pushback request accepted.
There we go. So yeah, I had some good, I had probably 6 or 7 good flights after I got everything working. No CTD, but then it did start up again this morning. So we'll see if we make it through. If we don't, like I said, I'm happy enough to dip out of this and drive the truck or whatever. Whatever works best. As long as we have a good stream and a good day. All right, and I don't know if you've seen this. Our little mini pushback cart when we're in a GA aircraft, they don't know where to go, man. So then we want to go to the left.
Liverpool ground TPG-13 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the left. TPG-13, your request has been transmitted to the operator. Liverpool ground TPG-13 requesting pushback tug to push the aircraft straight. TPG-13, your request has been transmitted to the operator. Liverpool ground TPG-13 requesting the end of pushback.
All right,
TPG-13
there they go.
request 10. Pushback received.
Set the brakes.
Oral warning, okay.
Cancel that. And fuel pumps and everything are automated. Fried, how you doing? What's happening, man? Most of these switches are marked as inoperative. All right, so beacon lights on before we get the propeller spinning. Everybody's clear. Clear on the left, clear on the right. Beacon lights on. Just so anybody's around knows what's up. And we will start number 2. There he goes. There you go. Fuel in. I had a couple updates, and then we also brought in this UK and Ireland pack, which it's freeware. It's part of base game, but you do have to download it, and it's about 5 gig. Sarah Ann, what's happening? How you doing? All right, starting number 1. I think the total download for me, I've got a lot of stuff not loaded. Like, I don't have the 747 and a lot of the general aviation aircraft loaded, so I think my total install is about 100 gig. If you bring in every single thing that's in the game, I want to say you'll be about 150. There we go. There's number 1. All right, generators on, if I can find the very small trigger. Starters off. The very small triggers. Take out flaps. Yeah, it's a very strange installation. And you can find a lot of tips online. People tell you, oh, you know, you just got to do this, you just got to do this, you just got to do this. And it's like, man, do you know what year it is? People do not have the time or the interest to, like, learn how to code to install a video game. You go to Steam, you hit install, the game installs, then you play it. That's what expectations are at this point. So we can taxi just right over there. Beautiful. So we'll come in here. Back to clearance. Taxi IFR.
Liverpool ground TPG-13 with Whiskey
All right, Siren.
CIFR. TPG-13 taxi to and hold short of runway 9er via taxiway. Contact tower on 126.35. Flags when ready.
You got it. Here we go.
Taxiing hold short runway 9er via
Brakes
taxiway.
off.
TPG-13.
I need to move a little bit and then reset. Here we go. Ground handling, I've heard that it was improved. I haven't really noticed it to be improved. The planes still sort of ice skate around when they're on the ground. They're not super responsive. Yeah, this is... I mean, so if we're looking at this windsock here as we pass it, we're going to be taking off, for some reason, downwind. If we were taking off on 2.7 as I wanted to, that would be a regular upwind landing, and that's how the flight plan was built. But they got us going out downwind, whatever. What are you going to do? Pitot heat on. Take off flap set, take off flap set. Anything else that we need? Not really. I think we'll be okay. Strobe lights on. There we are. And there's the piano keys right there, so we'll make our turn. Oh, you have to downgrade your internet connection? Yeah, I've heard that. If your internet connection is slow, the game doesn't want to download, but also if your internet connection is fast, the game doesn't want to download. What in the world? That's, I don't know, man. Like I said, in 2020, that's just, that ain't cool. All right. Set the brake again. Cancel that. Landing lights on. Everything else is set. Altitude is set. Go up here. Tune tower. Takeoff clearance. Here we go.
Liverpool Tower TPG-13 ready for IFR departure runway 9er. TPG-13 cleared for takeoff runway 9er.
Thank you very much.
Cleared for takeoff runway 9er. TPG-13.
Hank, I was into flight sims years ago. My dad is also a pilot, so I sort of grew up around the terminology and the, I don't know, like the broad concepts. But I've always been into flight sim, and a lot of this stuff is just, I wouldn't say second nature to me. I just sort of, I guess I have the overview. And then once you get into the sim, if you have the overview, then essentially you just look around until you find the things that you know would correspond to what you know you need to do next, if that makes sense. And then I really got into it. I had been away from flight sim for a long time. I think we're ready. All right, here we go. I had been away from flight sim for quite a while. I got back into it when this dropped in August very quickly. Was disappointed, as a lot of people were. Got into X-Plane, and I've just been flying X-Plane like a fiend. And I think the more you do it, naturally the faster you're going to pick it up and the more you'll know about it. But I think it's just a combination of I've been interested in aviation my whole life. There we go. I've just been interested in aviation my whole life, and yaw damper on. Yaw damper on, I said. There you go. All right, Manchester Center.
118.775 for TPG-13.
35 packages left. Yeah, it is a frustrating sim. It really is. Yep, there's a bunch of tutorials. And the other thing is, YouTube is definitely... You know what, let's go third person. This is a gorgeous game. Let's go third person and make the most of it. Yep, there's a ton of tutorials in the sim itself. And YouTube is also definitely a place where if you find a specific area of knowledge that you're after, if there's one particular aircraft, or if you want to learn more about VFR, if you want to learn more about IFR, whatever it is that you want to learn about, just find a YouTube channel that's doing the same thing. And a lot of them will be like half educational, half entertainment. I watch Flight Deck to Sim, and that's how I've learned most of what I've learned about how to fly an airliner in a sim. And I did turn off all the clouds. So it is, like I said, it's a perfect day in July. No wind, no clouds, so we can see the most of the scenery. And the scenery is unnerving how the scenery looks. Sorry, I was getting lost in the scenery. Oh, no worries, Fried. I'm glad I got it working again. I feel like we've definitely got a ways to go as far as, I don't know, the title being done. I'm just thinking of it as being in beta. I think that's a good way to make peace with it. You know, it's, it'll get there. Beautiful. And we're in the King Air right now, so we've got this great big motor right outside the window. But we'll fly the leg from Dublin to Donegal in the Skyhawk, and that has amazing views out the side windows. I noticed when I was downloading some of the updates, it was coming in at like 200 meg per second. So I'm really not sure where the download difficulties are, because I had definitely heard that if you try to download it on a fast connection, it'll just go crazy, but it didn't. It seemed to hold up for me. Who knows, man? I don't know. And the reason I flew this departure specifically is it's going to take us out, if we go down here, departing Liverpool, it's going to take us out to the end of this, I don't know, whatever this landmass is here. So we'll be flying southwest, and it'll keep us over land. So there'll be more scenery for us to look at all the way down here. And I think if you were flying general aviation IFR, doing this would keep you over land. Like, you would spend as little time as possible over water. And in a GA aircraft or a single engine aircraft, I think that might be a safety thing. Unknown. But it'll definitely keep us over scenery. It's not that pretty to fly over water. I mean, it's not bad. There's just not a whole lot to see. And Hank, if you're still here, if you just want to hop in a plane and fly around, this is definitely, like, of all the flight sims that are on the market right now, which would be X-Plane Prepared or FS20, of all of them, this is the one that is the easiest to just jump into and take off and fly. You don't really need to know anything. Alright, and we can button these up too. I'm doing this without a checklist, so I may remember some things a little bit after the fact. Oh, no worries, Fried. No worries. Yeah, Ernie, it is... I truly believe that this game is going to influence the way big world environments look from now on. If I were a company like SCS, I would really be leaning into this technology, because if you could render countryside this way, right, like for truck sim, even if you hand built the cities, if you could just render the countryside. Hang on, I'm trying to listen for ATC. If you could just render the countryside between the cities, and instead of flying above it, you would be driving a truck over it, but use the same technology that they're using to generate all of this. If you could generate, don't crash. I swear, game, if you crash. If you could use this technology to generate the terrain and the environment between cities, that would be amazing. But I really do think this is going to... People are going to license the technology, but I think it's also just going to make everybody step their game up. You know, they're going to have to improve what they're doing. And we're just about to get to 6,000 feet. I think they're probably going to send us to like 12,000 or 18,000. And then we'll have to see what the approach is like. ATC is, it's meme-worthy. Best thing is when they tell you to descend to land, and as you're descending, they start telling you climb to 14,000 feet or something ridiculous. Yeah, I think it definitely could. Really any big world transport sim. Hank, it's both as far as I know. So it is, the terrain is like full 3D topography, and then it's got Bing, because it's a Microsoft product, it's got Bing laid over it. And for the most part, I mean, you'll hear people say, like, you'll see snow in parts of the world where there shouldn't be snow because whenever those satellite photos were taken, it was snowy. But for the most part, everything that you see corresponds to the correct season. I don't even know how they do it. I really don't. And I have my cache set to 25 gig of terrain data, and it's never even filled up. Not even close. So, I don't see running out of space. Yeah, what, 7 trillion trees? Is that the number I heard? 7 trillion real trees. So you get real shadows, depending on the time of day. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy what they've done. And yeah, Fried, you're right. It is, the genius of it is that you don't have to hand build the world when you can come up with an algorithm that can build it for you. And I think if they had to build the entire world, there'd be no way to, you know, it would take a billion man hours to do it. All right, we're at 6,000 now. They're not telling us to climb. They may, but if they keep us this low all the way across, that would be fantastic. Get a better view. So one of the complaints about this is the aircraft are sort of dumbed down. Slow down a little bit here. The way the everything is modeled, it's sort of dumbed down. And that's been one of the complaints, that the aircraft aren't, you know, there's a lot of switches that aren't marked. And a lot of things are, the functionality is not there. So for a hardcore sim pilot, that's disappointing. But for somebody who just wants to jump in and fly, I think that's actually a relief, because they don't have to deal with like 160 item checklist. You essentially just turn the aircraft on and fly if you want to. Yeah, as long as it stays running. As long as we can keep it running. No problem. Oh, and we got this back here too. Let me show you this. How player is that? Beautiful. Yeah, this same aircraft is modeled in X-Plane, and it's got probably, I'd say 3 to 4 times the functionality in terms of like what you need to do to fly it. But then you can also get a payware one that has even more than that. So it can get out of hand, I think, as far as the level of detail. I mean, if you're studying to become a pilot, that's different, but I think for most casual sim pilots, somewhere between here and X-Plane is the right level of detail. They've got a really nice particle effect too. Like the fog really renders well. Yeah, I hear you, Fried. X-Plane is... I was having problems in the Zebo mod. I was getting... My engines were flaming out about 20 minutes into the flight, and I could not figure out why. And there's like a very specific setting. Or even this aircraft, the King Air. I was flying the King Air in X-Plane, and I lost an engine. I could not figure out why, because I had failures turned off. And apparently if you have... So there's fuel pumps... Well, they're not modeled here, but there are booster pumps, there are transfer pumps, and then there's something else. But there needs to be this very specific sequence of like turning on certain pumps, starting the engines, turning off other pumps, and then turning on yet other pumps. And if you don't do that right, the engines they'll suction feed fuel for a while. But as they're doing that, it's cavitating, which is like damaging the pumps. So they will fail after, X number of minutes. And, okay. All right. So that level of detail, it's fun to sort it all out, but it's frustrating when the engines quit and you have no idea why. Particularly at the end of like a 1 or 2 hour flight. Because it really is the landing that ties it all together. If you don't have a perfect landing, everything before then is just wasted. So those random and mysterious failures, I know that they can drive people crazy. I did see those, Fried. That would be very interesting to be sitting on the right side of the plane and look out and see that. Because what can you do? Just trust the pilots. Trust Boeing.
Generic Alpha Bravo Alpha traffic in sight.
And I've got the time set to 3 p.m. local. So by the time we get to Dublin and get back in the air in the Skyhawk, I think we should get to Donegal hopefully right around sunset. Yeah, exactly. Hope you got a Sully up there. I mean, most planes will fly really, really well on one engine. But it's when you look out the window and see that, it's like, well, we can fly fine on one engine. But you're looking out the window at evidence that engines fail. So now you're wondering, like, is that other engine going to hold up for us? So we'll make our turn here at, I think our marker is Ablin. We'll make our turn, and then depending on what ATC tells us as we start to get across, what body of water would this be? This is the... What's this body of water between Ireland and England? What's this called? But I think from Ablin in, we've only got about 60 or 70 miles. Not too far at all, and we'll start our descent. Well, we're only at 6,000 feet. We'll probably start our descent about 20 miles out, so... We'll be making our turn pretty soon here. Yeah, I mean, when I lived in LA, I flew so much, I got really, really numb to it. But I feel like a situation like that. I mean, I've been in really bad clear air turbulence. I've been, I don't know, but nothing like that. Obviously, nothing like that. So I don't know. I mean, I was on a little Dash 8 flying into a regional airport in Colorado, and we were just roller coastering. Like, things were flying up in the air, and seatbelts were on. There was one flight attendant, two flight attendants. They were strapped in. We hadn't seen them in forever, and we were just porpoising our way down to this little airport in the mountains. And my buddy Jimmy and I were just, every time we'd hit a big turbulence, we'd just throw our hands up in the air like it was a roller coaster and say, woo! What else can you do? Now, everything is real time in this world, and there's various options for, so there's one, you can go multiplayer. Well, if you use VATSIM or Iveo, it essentially puts you on a server with other players. So you'll be real time and everything that you see will be real, or you can be like single player real time, but there's no time compression. So even when you're solo, you can't speed time up. So the trick is to plan flights where you get up to altitude, fly for a few minutes, and then immediately start descending. Because this is, I mean, I know people fly from like New York to Frankfurt, and I couldn't do it because it's 15 or 20 minutes to get up to altitude, and then like 7 hours of just, you know, you could go somewhere else, you could go to sleep, go take a nap. So I try to plan flights where I take off, get up to altitude, and then immediately start descending again. And I think, well, now I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. Well, you can walk away unless you're on live ATC. If you're on live ATC and they call you a couple times and you don't respond, they boot you. They throw you off the network. They don't ban you or anything. They just disconnect you. So if you are doing an ATC flight, you have to stay on the flight deck. It's mental. I love sim flying. I don't think I love it that much. Yep, I've got real-time weather turned off right now, so we can fly in perfect sunny weather. But you can turn on real weather, and I typically, wherever I'm flying, I just fly in the actual time for that area with the real weather for that area. And I get into the worst situations. Climb and maintain 15,000. Here we go.
Climb and maintain 15,000 feet. TPG-13.
I just barely heard that. All right.
Generic Zulu Victor Mike, contact Valley approach on 125.225.
TPG-13 traffic, not in sight.
Bluetooth headset. That is not a bad idea. I know for the super long transoceanic flights, there are long areas of, or large, I guess, time periods where you're not going to be talking to anybody anyway. Because there's really no aircraft out there, and middle of the ocean, there's no ATC. There's a special type of ATC for your transoceanic clearance, I think. I don't know. But there's nothing out there, and there are no other aircraft, so you can sort of do whatever you want. I think that's when you can step away. Yeah, I mean, I haven't found a way to specifically dial in weather like you can in some flight sims, where you can create different layers. Like you can have fog down low and, you know, something else up high, and you can make it windy here or snowing there. I haven't found a way to do that yet. I know there's just sort of presets that you can pick from. But no complaints about the weather. The icing was a little bit over the top when the game first dropped. I think they backed that off a bit. It used to be, it was just too much. You fly into a cloud and the aircraft would be instantly completely covered in ice, so not super realistic.
12,500 feet generic. Report them in sight. Generic Lima, Quebec.
Fell asleep driving a train. I'm really curious to see what this Train Sim 2021 that's supposed to drop this fall. I'm really curious what that's going to look like. They say it's got 500 kilometers of route, and nobody knows for sure whether that's 500 kilometers continuous or 500 kilometers total, because those are two different things.
X-ray Lima, Quebec Golf. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
All right, so we'll make our turn here, and you can already see if we look across the way, you can already see Ireland over there. And I know Dublin's not too awful far from the coast.
Clear through Charlie airspace, generic Lima, Quebec Golf. Generic Lima, Quebec Golf has the traffic.
So yeah, we'll take the Skyhawk from Dublin to Donegal, and we can stay down at like 1,500 feet. We'll just do a VOR, VFR flight and stay down super low. Yeah, I suspect it is, Hank. I agree with you. I think it's if if there's a yard that's 1 kilometer long with 50 parallel track, they're going to count that as 50 kilometers. I mean, nobody's really seen it yet. I think Playway has something to do with it, and Playway is known as a company that is, I don't know, a little bit greasy. So we'll see. I know so many people are really reaching out for an alternative to TSW2. I am getting ready to pull the trigger on Zeusy. I've been trying to find some English language tutorials on it. I haven't found anything. So I think I just need to get in there and like figure it out for myself. And I'm gonna make a command decision here. So if we go here, if I can get here. So they want us to go. What? So if we go direct to A4, A5. What? So there's this loop in here. I don't know what this is. Let's try this. Let's just go direct to Latmo. Can we do that? Flight plan. Direct to Latmo. L-A-P. Hang on. Backspace M. Oh. Latmo. There we go. That simplifies things. There we go. So that will take us, let's see. That sort of snarl of waypoints that was in here. We're going to skip all that and just go directly to Latmo. No, Hank, it's sort of background noise. I don't mind it. I think it makes the sim feel a little bit less lonely. You just need to listen for your own call sign. Yeah, I know a lot of people have given up on it until it's done fried. It's it's just got so many problems. I mean, the fact that it's so difficult just to download it, and then after you get it downloaded, then you have the crash to desktop and all the other drama. I know a lot of people are ready to sort of step away from it, maybe try it again. I was going to wait until next August when it had been out for 1 full year, and I can't remember what it was. Something made me want to try it again. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's it's one of those titles that it feels like it's just impossible to sit down, play it, and enjoy it. You know, it's always a struggle. There's always something that needs resolved. So we're going to be at Lapmo in about 7 minutes. We're going to be at 15,000 feet in about 3 minutes. We'll see where they want us to start descending, and also what they want us to do for an approach. Yeah, it's crazy fried, and the way it's set up. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm just continually bashing the game, and I won't give it a break. It's the best way for me to think of it. The way I've made peace with it is I just think of it as a beta title. It'll be done. It's just not done right now. But because it comes off the Steam servers, and the only thing you're getting from... Reverse that. It comes off the Microsoft servers. The only thing you're getting from Steam is the launcher. If you verify the game files through Steam, as we've all done for like every game we've ever owned, if you do that, it essentially deletes the game. Yeah, it's so many people have had those problems. I mean, I had it uninstalled for months and months, and just now, past week, 10 days, it took me many tries to get it up and running. There you go. That's the way to do it. Continue to Peacock. You got it. I am grateful to this game, though, because it got me back into Flight Sim, and it led me to X-Plane. And I'm really enjoying X-Plane. I love the Rotate MD-80. And I do think in time this game will be a fantastic Flight Sim. But they're calling it a 10-year title. You know, that would have been something that people needed to know before they bought it, maybe? I don't know. But I am playing it, and it is fun, so I don't want it to sound like I'm completely hating on the game. You know, it is what it is. And there's the coast. Yep. There's the coast, and we're at just about 15,000 feet. Yeah, it's... I don't know how much of this has to do with COVID. I just don't know. I don't know if they were locked into, for some reason, locked into an August 2020 delivery. And then COVID hit, and it's like, well, we're just going to release it anyway. Descend and maintain 7,000. Keep speed below 230. You got it. So there's 7,000. So we are descending, and going to back the throttles way off because they want us under 230. Looks like the install is going better. Good. Yeah, trying to make it work through Steam is... Oof. I don't know what you even do with that.
Generic Zulu Victor Mike contact Dublin approach on 119.555.
So I didn't know this about Donegal until I was just about coming over the piano keys.
Expedite your descent to 7,000 feet.
All right. Jeez. I didn't know this till I was just about over the piano keys, but it's a tiny little airport with a tiny little runway.
119.555 generic Zulu Victor Mike.
Yeah, that's very cool, Fried. Because there are a lot of GA aircraft in there. And you also get the 787 Dreamliner. That's a fun plane.
Shannon Center generic Echo India. Zulu Victor Mike 10,500 feet.
All right, so we are descending. We are under 230 knots.
Center continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
You think that's more for Xbox than it is for PC? Like it's an Xbox perk and then it just sort of bleeds over into PC, but it's not really made for PC players?
Generic Zulu Victor Mike contact Dublin approach on 119.555. Generic Victor Delta November contact Manchester Center on 118.775. TPG-13, you are 14 miles east. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect vectors ILS runway 28 left approach.
28 left. Beautiful. So we're going to descend to 3,000 feet.
Expect vectors ILS runway 28 left approach. TPG 13. Going to 119.555 generic Zulu Victor Mike. Going to 118.775 generic Victor Delta November.
And we're extremely high. So we're going to need to get down much faster.
Shannon Center generic Echo India. Zulu Victor Mike 10,700 feet.
Yeah, this may or may not work.
Dublin approach on 119.903. Landing. Generic Echo India. Zulu Victor Mike Shannon Center continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Yeah, we're 9 miles from the airport at 10,000 feet, so this isn't going to work. So we'll need to
Going to 119.903 TPG 13.
we'll need to how do we want to do this?
Generic Zulu Victor Mike contact Dublin approach on 119.555.
Let's go on. Let's go on heading.
Juliet Echo is at 1,400 feet, climbing 9,000 feet. Airbus Echo India.
And we'll just make a couple of turns here.
Continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Try to get onto some kind of profile. Yeah, the ATC is it's not to be trusted.
For generic Zulu Victor Mike.
So we're going to turn and head due east. And head back toward probably
Victor Mike
Maxev is the waypoint behind us. See if we can be crossing over Maxev
Zulu Victor Mike Shannon
at a better altitude.
as planned. Altimeter 29.902. Mike, contact Dublin approach on 119.555.
for generic Zulu Victor Mike. Shannon Center, generic Echo India. Zulu Victor Mike 10,400 feet.
Generic Echo India, Zulu Victor Mike Shannon Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902. Generic Uniform Alpha Sierra, contact Manchester Center on 118.0.
I know I'm super quiet right now. I'm just trying to concentrate. Get us on the ground in one piece.
For generic uniform Alpha Sierra.
Five Nights at Freddy's under a sim. Yeah. I mean, technically everything is a sim. Right? Like Madden is an American football simulator, but that's not what it means.
Going to 119.555 generic Zulu Victor Mike.
Alright, see if this works any better. That's better. 10 miles out, 5,000 feet. Mo better. Nope, that's not going to do it either. You know what? Let's just... I give up. I don't know what to do with this sim. So we need Dublin approach. And they are right here.
Dublin approach TPG 13 is out of 4,000 feet for 3,000 feet. TPG 13 Dublin approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
This is not how you would fly this landing, but I feel like ATC is just battling us. So we'll do it live. We'll do it manually.
TPG 13, you are 1,600 feet below your assigned altitude.
Yeah.
Climb and maintain 3,000 feet altimeter 29.902.
So we're 3 miles from the runway. They want us at 3,000 feet. It's just not possible. 3 miles from the runway, you'd want to be at about 1,000 feet. So it's... If you're going to fly with ATC in this game, you just have to ignore them.
TPG 13 acknowledge last transmission. TPG-13, please acknowledge. TPG-13 ISR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
Oy. Just absolutely getting slapped around after we're on the ground. Okay, we made it. That was Liverpool to Dublin. And I'm not going to taxi all the way to parking. Let's just hop into the main menu and get in our Skyhawk and fly to Donegal. What new truck sim is that? What's it called? Long hauler? Right, so we go here now. We're going to hop in our Skyhawk. Departure airport is going to be Dublin. Dublin, I said. Dublin, and we're going to Donegal. What is that? EIDL? Yep. And we want direct GPS. We want to be in parking. Right there. That'll work. 120 miles. Perfect. And it is... We'll make it 4 o'clock in game. Beautiful. And let's add just a few clouds because we'll be under them for the most part. All right, here we go. Yeah, I saw one that was, let me see, what was it? I don't remember the name of it, but it was supposed to be like, it was all the way through growing a trucking company. So you start with just a delivery van and you're supposed to work your way up to having a fleet of trucks, but you also have to load the trucks manually with a forklift. And you have to do little local deliveries around town. I thought it was a great idea. And it definitely, you know, I know you can build your fleet in either ATS or ETS, but I feel like I've done it so many times. And you don't really build the fleet. You just sort of drive the truck and then spend money. But you don't start from the ground up, right? You don't start with a very basic kind of truck, a very small truck, and then work your way up from there. Right, so while all the textures get loaded and everything wakes up, that is the famous Cessna Skyhawk, the 172. Most popular aircraft in the world, and the aircraft that virtually everybody who flies a plane, this is what they learn to fly in. Right, and I lost my preview, of course. Hang on, let's do this. I'm going to restart my my preview on my other system here. If I can, gotta make a long arm. I think the memory just loads up in this thing. Because about halfway through the stream, my preview will just go away. Right, so battery on.
System test.
Avionics on. And then we want nav lights on. We want to clear that. We want to silence that. There we go. All right, and we're flying to
Dublin clearance delivery. TPG-13 ready to copy IFR clearance to Donegal.
There you go.
CPG-13 is cleared to Donegal Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 28 left climb and maintain 6,000 feet.
Climb, maintain 6,000.
13, 2.15, squawk 41.
Yeah, something like that. It was definitely early access. It had a long way to go. But I like the idea of it.
Donegal Airport as filed.
I definitely like the idea of it.
Takeoff runway 28 left
Right, so
climb
let's,
and maintain 6,000 feet. Departure on
That's
13,
good.
2.15, squawk 4166.
That's good.
CPG-13 readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.8 when ready to taxi.
And I think we do need, yeah, let's go ahead and push back. We're close enough to this grass over here. Let's go ahead and push back.
Dublin ground, TPG-13, requesting pushback.
CPG-13 pushback request accepted.
Yeah, at what point, when you're in Planet Coaster, at what point does your machine start to choke? I find that I'm typically about, I'd say, half done, maybe 2/3 done with my park, and my PC just starts to give up. Just too many assets going. I think right back in here somewhere should do it.
Dublin ground, TPG-13 requesting the end of pushback.
CPG-13 request to end. Pushback received.
There you go. There's parking brake. He's clear. So we want beacon lights on. And I think... There you go. So get some taxi lights on. Take a look here. We're going out on 28 left. And that is right here. And the only way we can really get there... Oh, that's a long taxi. Only way we can really get there is... sort of all the way around this way. All right. Well, it looks like we're taking a little... Looks like we're taking a little tour of the airport. Here we go. Brakes off, beacon lights on, taxi lights on, nav lights on. Here we go. I really do like that game. Let's get rid of this cursor. I really do like that game. I like Planet Coaster and City Skylines quite a bit. So I think, I mean, if we can find a way between these two sets of buildings over here, I think we can cut a bit off this trip, but I don't know if there's a gap to get through there. Because basically what we want is... Yeah, we may be able to cut it off. We may not. We may have to go all the way around. If we do, you know, not a big deal. I do that in sim games sometimes. Right? Like, I want the full experience. I want the cold and dark start. I want... You know, I want the maximum experience. And then it's like, you're going to have to taxi a little bit. Oh, man, I don't want to taxi. So it's funny for me to see, like, where I draw the line as far as what I want as part of my realistic sim experience and what I can do without. So, yeah, we'll just keep working our way around here. Oh, you know what? Hang on. I just I just remembered something. Don't tell Danny. Hang on. Just remembered.
Dublin ground, TPG 13 with Yankee ready to taxi IFR.
TPG 13 taxi to and hold short of runway 28 left. Contact tower on 118 decimal.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I've seen, there's a guy called Silver Rat. Silverat.
Short runway 28 left.
And I guess he's like a design or architecture student or something. But he builds everything by hand. He doesn't use any like pre-placed assets. If he builds a building, he builds it like one piece at a time down to the smallest detail. I don't know what kind of system he's running because it's like, it's got to be, like he built a clock tower, probably had 3,000 or 4,000 pieces in it. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this. And we'll open this up. We doing okay? Oh, we got to go all the way out. All right. What else can we do? Silivra. Okay. Thanks, man. I spelled the guy's name and I spelled it completely wrong. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep. That is the guy. It is, it's unbelievable to watch him work. It is so hypnotic. Nope. We want to be over there. We're going the wrong way, man. Can we? Nope. This is like some kind of parking. All right, now we've done it. We're lost in the Bermuda tarmac here. Well, you know what? We're just gonna. We're just gonna cut it off. I'm less focused on realism right now. And I guess he works with a colleague who is also a student, and they do like school projects, but they use Planet Coaster as their medium. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought you could do that, but good for them for doing it. I mean, I'm not bothered by it. I think it's cool that, you know, if you wanted to hand in an architecture project, that you could find a way to, you know, show the things that you're designing, but like actually show them. So we want to go here and then here. Okay. Oh, you know what? Mine does too. I thought it was like Silver Rat, but with one R. But yeah, hopefully you can find it. If you're looking for him, hopefully you can find him because it's worth watching. It's like some kind of ASMR time lapse in a video game. Unbelievable. All right, so we're making progress now. We're on our way. There we go. So we'll go kind of juke to the right here. And I did throw a few clouds in, and hopefully, where's the sun? Right there. Hopefully we'll get to Donegal just about sunset. Yeah, that's the kind of video that I can, like, if I'm stressed, if I'm having a bad day, that's the kind of video that really takes the edge off for me. Okay, we're good. So we just go down here and then to the right and then to the right again. Okay. I feel like I owe you an ATC video, an ATC stream in X-Plane. I've been trying to do one. I'm very much interested in doing an ATC stream, but I feel like there's never any coverage on the days that I want to stream. Not like a specific day of the week, but I feel like any day that I plan to do an X-Plane video with ATC, when I look at Iveo map, there's no coverage. Nobody's on, so I'll figure out a way to do it. Yeah, I'm not sure where he's from. I just know the way that, I mean, you can hear his commentary as he's doing the video, and it definitely makes me think he's a student. And then, like I said, that colleague of his, to hear them talking about like submitting projects. I don't know if anybody's used something like Planet Coaster for a proposal, but I think it'd be a great way to show a client like what something is going to look like when it's done in 3D. Because 3D it's so much more powerful than a rendering to be able to actually like step inside it and pivot around and see the proportions and just the scale of it. All right, and this is, let's get our ATC open here. And I'm going to stop right here before we cross 3.4. Traffic. No traffic, we're good. Get over there. Good over there, beautiful. So we'll get over here to the piano keys and be on our way. All right, hop back in here, reset that. Is what VR, Hank? Come on. Come on now. There we go. See if we can get some autopilot going here. So we want flight director. Shannon Center, you got it.
132.15 TPG 13.
So we want nav now. There's your nav. We want vertical speed. There's vertical speed. Beautiful.
Shannon Center TPG 13 is at 1,100 feet.
Landing lights off. Taxi lights off. PWE on. Beautiful. Here we go. And I'm going to try to get up to 6,000 feet as slowly as possible so we can see as much scenery as possible. And this is the view you get out the window of the Skyhawk compared to the King Air. No engine in the way, so you can just see so much more. And hopefully we'll get to Donegal just about sunset. The craziest thing for me is I'm not on a super good system. Most of my settings are on high. I've got a couple on ultra and a couple on medium. And this is the way the game looks. I know there were some complaints on launch that even high-end systems didn't run it very well, but I think they've got it optimized a lot better. And that part of it they got fixed. Other parts, obviously, still struggling with, but you know, the game certainly runs okay on, I'd say my system is somewhere between mid-tier and high-end, but it runs okay on my system. Works for me. And this, yeah, the level of detail is just creepy. Look at that. It's madness. And we've got a little over 100 miles to go. And once we level off, we'll be just about 100 knots. So hopefully, yeah, right around sunset, we'll get into Donegal. Yeah, you can you can see the tram lines in the fields. What? Is that a golf course right there? It's got to be. Oh, this is crazy. Yeah, August 2020, I want to say, is when it dropped. As always, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, you know, the beta was out. Wow, the reflections on the water. The beta was out a bit earlier than that, of course, but as far as I know, that's it. So you can do, we're sort of flying a plane right now. We've got it on autopilot for heading and vertical speed. But you can do, you can just let AI do everything. And I guess there is a group of people that aren't into sim flight at all. They just like sightseeing. And they essentially tell the AI copilot to do everything. And then they just sit on the other side and look at the world. They don't fly the aircraft at all. They just look at the scenery. I get that. I could see that. Yeah, 2020 was a different kind of year. I'm hoping 2020 shapes up in another direction. We'll see. And I can take the time back. If it starts getting too dark, I can take the time back a little bit. But, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing how the world looks with the lights on. We'll see everything light up as we get closer. And this is crazy. It's... my dad was very much into model railroading when I was a kid. Super old school. Yeah, exactly. Passenger sim. Air passenger sim. My dad was very much into model railroads, and he was always dragging me along to these, like, creepy warehouses on the edge of town. And there'd be a bunch of boomers inside with their gigantic private model railroad that they'd built. And he had finagled an opportunity for us to go look at it. And it was the same thing, like, just, there's something about that level of detail. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why it clicks for us as humans. But when you see something that isn't real, that somebody's put a lot of time and effort into making look very, very real, it just resonates somehow. And this is that same sort of God's eye view. Caden, how you doing, brother? What's happening? Yeah, that is an old school hobby. And more so now than when I was a kid, but that is definitely an old school hobby. Hell yeah, man. We are in a Cessna 172 Skyhawk. We're flying from Dublin to Donegal. There you go, brother. I'm doing great, Caden. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I do like this plane. I know it's sort of the Honda Civic of aircraft, but I do like it. I like the DA62. I fly that quite a bit. I like the X Cub and the King Air. So I'd say this isn't like the most exotic or sexy aircraft, but it is, you know, it is what it is. It's a classic. I'm going to back this out a little bit. Just confirm where we're going. I guess we're going from like one coast to the other. More or less. Not directly across the middle. But yeah, one coast to the other. Beautiful. Fly through this cloud right here. Temperature outside is 8 degrees above freezing. I will take it. I do not want to start icing. And we do have the weather essentially turned off. Oh no, that's right. We did turn on just a few clouds for this second leg. That's right. My mistake. My bad. So I don't think we'll have problems with icing. I hope we don't. And I don't think there's an ILS approach into Donegal. It does have an ILS beacon, but I couldn't find any approaches and any arrivals for it. Right, so if we go to, let's see if I can get there. If we go to flight plan, and then we go to, I'm sorry, procedures. If we go to procedures, select approach, none. None. Transitions, none. I mean, what do you do? What do you do at that point? So we'll have to fly this manually. But there's supposed to be... Yeah, there's supposed to be a beacon, but I never found it. Or I found the beacon, but I didn't find anything else. So I think we're just going to end up flying it manually. We might be able to get the beacon and use that just to kind of line things up if the visibility is bad, but we won't get the localizer and glide slope and everything. I don't know. Should be an easy enough landing. It was spooky in the King Air though the first time I landed there, because just as I was, I know you're supposed to like brief the landing and you're supposed to know all this stuff as a good pilot. I skip those steps a lot. So I was just coming over the numbers, just coming over the piano keys when I realized how short that runway was. I was very surprised, but I was able to get it stopped okay. It's tiny. I thought it was, so there's Manchester and there's Manchester Barton, and I didn't know there was a difference between the two. I thought Manchester Barton was like Orange County Airport in California. This is called John Wayne. So I thought Manchester International was named for Barton. So when you said Barton, you were talking about Manchester International. I didn't know there were two of them. And Manchester Barton is like a tiny little local commuter airport. And Donegal's the same way. It's just a tiny little airport. There's, I think, parking spaces for 4 aircraft down at one end of the runway. So very, very small. But I was able to get the King Air stopped and avoid catastrophe. It'll be a lot easier to land this plane because I think you can land this plane as slowly as like 50 or 60 knots. And even on a 4,000 foot runway, that's plenty of time to get stopped. Since this new patch, it seems like there's a thing that Flight Simulator 20 does. Nobody really knows why this is the case, but the yaw is kind of strange. And it's like there's this crazy amount of yaw that kicks in after you're on the ground. So you get the aircraft landed, you try to get the loading off the wings, right? Get all the weight onto the wheels. And it's like as you do that, it just starts throwing itself wildly from side to side. No idea why it's set up that way. Or if that's something they're planning on fixing, who knows? It's been, yeah, it was probably like late summer, early autumn last year. Last time I flew this game this low, transitioning from day to evening. So I'm trying to remember like what the sequence is for the lights coming on and how everything's going to light up below us. And we're still 5 degrees above freezing. It's not ideal, and you definitely want to be very, very careful with it in an aircraft like this that has no ability to de-ice whatsoever. And this does, I mean, it's glass cockpit, so obviously it's got IFR capability, but this really is kind of a daylight and good weather aircraft. I know the DA62 has de-icing, but I don't know what it's for. Well, icing in Flight Simulator has always been over the top, so the DA62 does have de-icing, but it doesn't really do anything. And I don't know if it does anything in real life, or if it's accurately modeled, or if it's just that the icing is so, like, I don't know, kind of heavy-handed, that there's just nothing that can be done about it in a plane that small. Unknown. I guess, yep, I should probably take a look and see how we're doing on fuel. I didn't even check that before we left. It's a quick flight, and you can always go into the weights and balances menu up above and just add more fuel if you have to. This is, I don't want to make it sound like this is not a serious flight simulator, but it's kind of not a serious flight simulator. There's a lot of things missing, and I mean, it's a lot of fun. You can definitely have a lot of fun flying in it, but it's not... if you're looking for a more realistic experience, you want to go X-Plane, or I say Prepared. I know other people say Prepare 3D or P3D, but there are other more like study grade flight simulators, definitely. But this one you can just hop into and have some fun. I know when you're building your flight, there is a slider for what month you want it to be. Well, any date really. It's not like you have 12 months to select from. You can select the month and then the date. I know that's for the position of like the sun and the moon and that sort of thing, but I don't know if that changes the textures. 12,000 feet. Damn it. Let's see if we can do a little better than that. I don't want 12,000 feet. I want 6,000 feet. There you go. Beautiful.
Climb and maintain 6,000 feet. TPG 13.
So this will keep us at 6,000. A lot lower. We'll be able to see a lot better. And with all these clouds, I really don't want to go to 12,000 anyway. Let's keep it on the low. And we got about 90 miles to go. As we level off here, we'll be going a bit faster. I think one of my favorite things in this game is as you're landing, as you're on approach, particularly in this part of the world, Ireland, UK, continental Europe, Western Europe, there's just soccer fields everywhere, football fields everywhere. When you're flying in at night, they're all like brightly lit. You can see sports complexes with tennis courts and pools and stuff. That just the level of detail. It's amazing, Ernie. I'm really glad that I got it working again. It is a pain in the ass, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. It's disappointing. It's frustrating, but I mean, what an accomplishment. Amazing. I think the first flight I did in this sim was Nice. I flew out of Nice up over the Alps and landed in Zurich or Geneva or someplace at night, and just seeing the light from the cities reflecting off the bottom of the clouds, and that just that sort of yellow cast that you get when the sky glows above a city. How do you do that? Like, as a developer, how do you do that? You just go out. Keep forgetting to get rid of this cursor. That's killing the immersion. I guess you just go out and look at the world and then try to figure out like what causes it, how to make it happen. I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing what people can do. I did, when we were talking the other day, I did go check the game out in 4K, but like I was saying, the only 4K device that I have is my phone. And the screen is so small and the pixels are so small. Of course it looks crisp, but I really do wonder what this game would look like in 4K on a giant screen. What is that? What is that right there? Hang on, can we see out that far? Hey Fred, how you doing? I can't quite get over far enough to see what this is down there. It looks like a mine, some kind, big open pit mine. Bunch of turbines. Let's see. Are they spinning? They are spinning. Beautiful. Quarry, right on. So here's a question, right? That's a wind farm. So we've established that the world is not hand-built, but how does the algorithm know? How does the software know that those are wind turbines? Or does somebody have to come in and like manually put the little spinner on them? Can that be automated, or does that part of does a detail like that in the map have to be hand-built? Beautiful. And still good on fuel. Still good on fuel. See if we can go a little lower. What kind of latitude do we have with ATC today? Let's see if we can do 3,000 feet.
Shannon Center, TPG 13. Request 3,000 feet.
TPG 13 request
Oh,
denied.
request denied. All right, hang on. See if we can get down to 5,000 feet.
Shannon Center, TPG 13. Request 5,000 feet.
TPG 13 descend and maintain 5,000 feet.
5,000. They said okay. Beautiful.
Descend and
So
maintain
we will
5,000 feet. TPG 13.
descend to 5,000. I don't know if it is or not, Ernie. I don't know. I mean, I would think you can't do that. But who knows what's possible. I don't know whether that can be automated or not. There's a lot of ways. Oh no. Are we offline? It says we're still streaming.
TPG 13, please expedite your descent to 5,000 feet.
Hang on. It says the stream's done. What's up? Nope. We're still rolling. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got to figure out what's going on with my preview monitor or my preview laptop. I think it just needs to be replaced. It's old and tired. Oh, okay. Interesting. It's back now, though? Seems to be. All right. Oh, here I was blaming it on my preview laptop. And we lost the stream. So it goes. All right, so that's 5,000 feet. See a little bit more detail.
TPG 13, please expedite your descent to 5,000 feet.
Yeah, ATC in the sim is like super attentive and super demanding, and then they'll just completely forget about you or tell you to do the wrong thing or something. Very passive aggressive. All right, I'm ready to start seeing some lights. And I also want to know what these lakes are up here. So like right about in I want this now. So I'm gonna go this way. And then up here. These lakes right in here. I'm curious what those are. All right, there's 5,000. Think we get 4,000? I know we're pushing our luck. Let's see what we can get here.
Shannon Center, TPG 13. Request 4,000 feet.
TPG 13 descend and maintain
There you go.
4,000 feet.
Send and maintain 4,000. Beautiful.
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet. TPG 13.
Visual 2-1, you got it.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors. Visual runway 21 approach. TPG 13.
Seeing a little bit of flicker. I think it's might just be the propeller disc. I'm seeing a little bit of flicker like right out here. See if we can get that back. Yeah, this water right here. But I think that has more to do with the propeller disc than the render. Yeah, like it's maybe just a combination of things. It's right on the edge of the draw distance, and it's behind the propeller disc, and it's sort of behind this cloud. I haven't seen a lot of what I would call visual flaws in this game. I know the first couple weeks there were some textures that were loading a little bit funny, and I know people have definitely filed complaints about things that are, you know, like rivers that have bumps in them and that sort of thing. And I know that Microsoft and Asobo want those. They want to be able to file those to get those fixed, right? Get those attended to. So I don't think they mind people complaining about them. But I personally haven't seen really a lot like that. And I did do a flight over my condo, and it was disturbing, like how accurately it had it represented. The windows and the skywalks and the trees and everything. Unbelievable. And this is the technology that's in a video game, right? Like if CIA or MI6 or somebody wants to look in your window, I'm pretty sure they can do that. No problem at all. Scottish Center, you got it.
119.875 for TPG 13. Scottish Center, TPG 13, 4,000 feet.
TPG 13 Scottish Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Still good on temperature. We're going to be a little close on fuel. We might be in the yellow by the time we land in Donegal. We'll be okay, but it's going to be a little close. Probably would not want it to be any lower than this. And not getting a whole lot of a good sunset right now. It's just white mostly. You'll see if it gets if we get a nice golden sunset as it gets closer to the horizon. Yeah, exactly. It's like when the you get the spam email that says, "We turned on your webcam and recorded you," and it's like, cool, send me a copy. What was I doing? What, playing video games? Working? Come on now.
Airbus 42 Alpha traffic is 12 o'clock, 2 miles at 13,100 feet. Airbus.
Oh, that's so nice the way the sun is like lighting up the clouds from the other side. That's beautiful. Yeah, a lot of these visual effects, I feel like they're so complicated. Like when you think about what causes things to look a certain way in the natural world, it's like light moving through moisture, reflecting off water, and then something, and then something. All these things that need to come together to give it that very specific look, and then here you've got a video game that's trying to recreate all of that.
Airbus 60 hotel traffic is 12 o'clock, 4 miles at
Wind turbines are built by AI. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you could somehow configure it, if you could build it in a way that it could scan and determine, yes, this is a wind farm, then all you would need to do is have it plug in the asset. I keep forgetting to move the cursor, sorry. Then you could have it plug in the 3D asset with the spinning turbine for anything that it determined was a turbine. Did I say that right? I think I did. I mean, it sounds simple enough to describe the process. Like, oh, you just deedly-deet, doot, done. There you go, and now you've got a 3D wind farm in your video game. It's easy enough to say that, but I'm sure designing it, making it do that was pretty complex. And then you think about all the other types of facilities that you need to represent, right? Because it's not just wind farms, it's all the other things that you have scattered all around the world. Yeah, for general aviation, it may not be study grade, but I feel like the visual impact of this game when you're just flying around, it more than makes up for the fact that it is not the most in-depth flight sim. And you know, in that way, from that angle, I can understand why it is the way it is. If they had a limited resource kit, limited budget, whatever, and they could take the sim in one of two directions. They could either make it a hardcore study grade flight simulator for hardcore flight sim pilots, or they could make it a gorgeous, fun, fly around game for anybody who wants to get into it. I think economically, it makes more sense to go with the former rather than the latter, but also just in terms of like elitism, you're making this available to a much wider audience. Yeah, and I'm having so much fun right now. This is really, really fun. And it's not, we didn't have to do like a 45-minute cold start like I do in X-Plane. There's a time and a place for that. But it's just fun. It's just a fun game to play. I got you. Geographical data. Styles of buildings. Yeah, I was curious if there would be a way that you could scan an overhead image and determine with any certainty like what type of buildings those were. Yeah, when I flew past my condo, right, because I took off from the local international airport in a little biplane and then just kind of winged it. I knew fly down this highway and get off at this exit. So I just kind of dead reckoned. Just kind of dead reckoned my way to the road that my condo is on. And then I flew down the road, focusing on not crashing the plane while I was flying at like 60 feet. And when I got to the right place, I turned my head and it was just right there. I really was not expecting to see it in that level of detail. I've also considered that this is just a test bed to license the technology. Whether you want to license it to video game developers, architects, engineers, civil planners, I don't know, all the different things that you could use this type of rendering for. And that the flight sim itself wasn't super critical. They just needed some excuse to release the technology in a way that a lot of people would see it. And they chose flight sim because you're up above, and so you can see all of it, right? So does that make sense? That this is really just kind of a marketing app for the technology itself, but they chose to sort of wrap it around a flight sim. Yeah, It is crazy, and it's getting more and more powerful every year. Just got to do something about the AI in pretty much every game and every title. Tune that up a little bit, and we'll be good to go. All right, just over.
Center, generic Echo Charlie, Lima Yankee Foxtrot, 7,900 feet.
Just over 40 miles to go. Beautiful. Yeah, it'll be right around sunset. I hope we do get some lights coming on as we fly in. Yeah, and I think about Bing too, because everybody hates Bing. Nobody's using Bing. I got a Bixby button on my Galaxy. I've never used it. Why would you use the Samsung? Why would you use the Bing when you've got Google already built into an Android phone? So nobody uses Bing. Nobody uses Samsung. But I feel like they want people to recognize like what Bing can do, that it's not just a search engine. Right? They want people to understand what Azure can do. It's not just Dropbox. You know, it's a cloud technology. There's more to it than what you may think. So I wonder. I do. Now it's like the Olympics. The Olympics are not about the Olympics. They're not about amateur sport. They're about bringing business and investment money to a country. It's an opportunity for a country to showcase how rich you can get if you invest there. It has nothing to do with the athletes. And yet, you know, thousands of people train for years and years to go participate in an event like that. And it has nothing to do with them. So you wonder sometimes, you know, is this a flight sim at all, or is it just an ad for other technologies that we're really not even aware of? And I want to say, did we? I can't remember if we flew into Donegal once before. Maybe? But if that is the case, I think there's some foothills just before we cross over. Yeah, there's some foothills we need to be very careful of because they're kind of hidden. Yeah, this lake right here. Just to our... Is it a lake or is it like an estuary? Is it part of the ocean? Unknown. Where are we on the map? We are... Let's see if I can bring it up here. I don't know place names in Ireland, but geographically that's where we are. And can I make this any bigger? I can't. I had no idea. So yeah, these little foothills right here, I've had a problem with them before. Oh, you're gonna have to spell that for me. Sound it out. The first, that's lock, is it not? Is it lock or luff? And then the second one, you pronounce the second E? Language fascinates me. I want to know how to say that. And is that like a standalone lake, or is it low enough that it kind of connects to the ocean? Because it looks like, looking at the map here, it looks like right in here there could be maybe some marshy area. So is this saltwater or freshwater? Aaron? So, Loch Aaron. Beautiful. I'll look at this with the sun. Are you kidding me? You know, I don't really have any emotional stake in any video game as far as, you know, liking it, not liking it, whatever. It's just pixels. But I really do want this game to succeed. I want it to, whatever its full potential is, I really want it to get to its full potential. And I don't know if it will ever be a steady level sim. But if they could just get it running smoothly, consistently. No CTD. Figure out the damn install problems. That drives people crazy. Beautiful. Alright, 35 miles. We got these foothills here. I don't know how many lights are going to be on. We'll see if we can, as we're descending, we'll see how many football fields we can see. You say football field, you say football pitch. I would say soccer field. But we'll see how many we can see. It seems like there are, in every town in UK, in Ireland, and continental Europe, Western Europe, it seems like there are just soccer fields everywhere. And to see them all lit up at night, I don't know why, I just love the way that looks. Alright, and we're still doing good on fuel. We are still doing good on fuel. Still in the green. Local time is just going on 5 p.m. Perfect. Yeah, exactly, Fried. And you know the thing about games, they're like movies. You know, you have a week or two.
Scottish Center, Airbus November 359er is at 17,300 feet, descending 11,000 feet.
You have a week or two for a title to really make an impression. And if it hasn't made an impression, like a movie, right? If people don't like it when they see it Friday night, a lot less people go see it Saturday. And by the next week, it's gone. It's headed to Netflix. So, games like Cyberpunk, you know, they have that horrible launch, and it's like they never really come back. No matter how well they get fixed, they never really come back. And a year later, when they are fixed, there have been so many other titles that have dropped in the interim. You know, trying to get into Breakpoint. Nobody's playing it. It's a dead game. They did fix it. It is fun. But it's no fun to play by yourself. After you've done all the main game content. I've already done all that. So all there is to do is either repeat missions or just run around and kill people. For no reason. I have all the loot. The story mission is done. It'd be fun to play with friends. But it's no fun to play by yourself. The game just died. You know, it sucked when it dropped. It was regarded as one of the worst games of 2019. Nobody played it then, and they've moved on. So you look at something like Truck Sim and think, you know, how easily that game could have been lost in the sauce. So if a game doesn't make a big impression these days, particularly for a AAA title or something like Cyberpunk, massive game that people have been looking forward to for so long, if it doesn't make that first impression, it's almost like it's gone forever, you know. And that's a shame, because those games do get fixed. They do get patched. They get the content, the theme, the flow, all of that can be fixed. based on feedback from the player base. And it's like, you told us our game sucked, so we fixed it for you, and you've moved on to other games. You're not even going to play it. But, you know, what else can you do? It's not like a developer's not going to fix that game. Of course they're going to fix it. But it's that first impression. Yeah. And part of that, I think, is the internet. The internet makes people dicks. And you get a loop where people see negative feedback and they want to jump in on that negative feedback too. They want their tweet to be the one that people like, right? They want to be retweeted. And so it just turns into like a circle jerk of negativity, you know? And there's definitely like there's a time and a place for valid criticism, but then there's also just piling on for fun. Yeah, come on now. I was on a thread. I reinstalled Arma 3, which is surprisingly, it's like parallel to Breakpoint. I wouldn't say that it's like Breakpoint, other than you play as sort of a lone soldier on a South Pacific archipelago, and it's got guns and that sort of stuff. But it's not. I'm not suggesting that Arma 3 and Breakpoint are like the same or anything. But I'm looking for something that is like Breakpoint, because I do like the concept, and Tarkov it's just too hard for me. I can't play Tarkov. So I was trying to figure out some mods. I got all my mods through the Steam store. All the big mods, all the must-have mods are available through the workshop, so I was getting them all configured and trying to figure some things out. And I ended up on this thread. Somebody had a question. They were bickering like people do on forums. And somebody posted something. And the response to it, the person responding to it, they made fun of their English. And it was like the whole thread. All these people that had been arguing with each other a few minutes earlier immediately were like, dude, not cool. Hang on, where's my brow button? Bruh, not cool, man. And it was interesting to see that, you know, as passionate and as angry as these people were with each other a few minutes before, it's just the internet. It's just what you do on the internet. And here comes somebody making fun of somebody for not having proper English when it's obviously not their language, right? Like, their English was a hell of a lot better than my Portuguese. And for somebody to attack them for that, it's like, come on, man. So I think the internet just makes people... It just makes people not passionate. What's the word I'm looking for? It just makes people dicks, but they don't mean it. They're not serious about it. But that's the vibe that you get. You know, I get it. I completely understand when Dovetail is like, hey man, could you stop? Could you stop, please? Because people really do pile on. And there's definitely a difference between valid criticism, valid disappointment, people that are passionate about a title, and just piling on for piling on's sake. You know, I feel bad for titles like Cyberpunk. I think Star Citizen, honestly, I think Star Citizen's going to get the same treatment. It's like it doesn't matter what the title is when it drops. People are just going to shit talk it. Beyond the Wire, yeah, there've been a lot of, I don't know if they're licensing what was used in Squad. I know Postscriptum licensed the Squad code, but then there's Green Hell, there's Beyond the Wire, and there's one or two others. Hang on, I gotta sneeze. I love having a dump button finally. Always wanted one. I finally got one. Yeah, there've been a lot of titles like that, and I got Arma 3 working, and I feel like, great, now all I gotta do is make 39 friends, and I'll be all set. You can't play that game solo, but I think it's a lot more fun to play with people. Same as Breakpoint. The difference is, I think I may actually be able to find some people to play it with, but Breakpoint, yeah, that ain't happening. Some of those games, though, I have to say are... how do I want to say this? I feel like the modern iteration of some of those concepts is sort of fun and exciting and cool. And the historical iteration can be a little bit grim. Yeah. Battlefield 1. That was going to be my example. I think because the Great War, the First World War, was just so pointless. It was just such a meat grinder, you know, that it's I don't know, maybe even for gamers it's just a little bit dark. And I'm loving these clouds. These are all, oh, the sunset, beautiful. I love it. Although, I hope this clears up a little bit before we start our descent, because we may have ILS. I don't know whether we are or not. I think, hang on. If I take a look here, if I very carefully take a look here. Stand by. If I go here, Donegal ILS. Donegal Airport ILS. What do we got? What we got? $21. There we go. This is what we want. Our localizer is. Our localizer is. What do we got? .110.3. Beautiful. So if we go here now, let's see if we can get some ILS. I don't think we need it. Visibility's good, weather's good, but just the same. Where do we want to go? We want to go. Sorry, we want to go here. We want to go here. We want 110.3. Plug that in, and then we want 110.3. Transfer that. Beautiful. We've got ILS. Fantastic. I only played a little bit on a friend's console a couple years back. I did like it, but that first scene where it's like, you will not survive. Well, yeah, pretty much. World War I was awful. But I think it does. I don't want to say it gets cartoony, but toward the middle, I feel like it loosens up a little bit. I like the little Renault mini tanks, the little one-person tanks with the crazy camouflage. I thought those were cool. I like the mega tanks. Was that the Mouse? Is that what that thing was called? So yeah, I think it had an appeal, but I didn't spend a ton of time in it. So hard to say. I'm gonna go back here. There we are. Oh, sorry, Caden. Be careful with the caps, brother. Only play multiplayer? Yeah, I never played multiplayer. I think depending on what server you get on, because I know I've watched people play it online, and if you're playing against like hardcore players, like the bunny hopping chicken dancers, it's like you just have no chance. It's like that's all they do is they just play that game. I'll be here probably another 8 or 10 minutes till we're on the ground. If I see you again tonight, Caden, I appreciate you stopping by. If I don't, well, I still appreciate you stopping by. I think we're going to do some Chellington tomorrow. And so right up here somewhere, right out here maybe, right up here somewhere should be the airport. Says we are about 8 miles. Maybe. Unless that's it directly in front of us. Yeah, that could be it directly in front of us, so we'll have to kind of pivot around here. I'm waiting for vectors from ATC, but like I said, they forget about you sometimes. So if they do forget about us, we'll just fly our own approach. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I think the disconnect for me is I try to play everything so realistically that when I get into a game like that, I'm playing against people that are just, they just play to win. They just do whatever they have to win. They don't care what weapons they use. They don't care where they have to bunny hop. They don't care. They just want to win, and that's how they play. And that's super, super frustrating for me. I mean, something like Tarkov, I think the way you win is by playing realistically. But I mean, that sucks for me too because I'm just awful at that game. But I do feel like it's more of a milsim and less of a video game. And that if I had to pick a path, I would prefer to go in the direction of milsim rather than a military game. But either way, I'm not as good as people that play it all the time. Yeah, exactly. And I try to. And I just get murdered over and over and over. To the point where it's like, I don't know, man. I've had people kill me so many times, it's like they're starting to feel bad for me. Like the same person just keeps killing me. Bruh. Alright, so right down there somewhere, hang on, we can go third person. Right down there somewhere is, yep, I think that's Donegal right there. And right here, this single building, it's like that's all the parking in the whole airport complex. All the parking for aircraft. I don't know where the car park is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Whatever it takes to win, you have to know what's required based on the last update, the last patch. What's the best gun? What's the best armor? What's the best technique? And here's me again, like, well, you know, I've always been partial to the M4. Alright, so if we don't get vectors when we fly over the airport, we're just going to, like I said, take it upon ourselves. And so we want 210 would be 30. I'm doing head math right now. Not something. Descend and maintain 2,000. You got it.
Descend and maintain 2,000 feet. TPG 13.
TPG 13 Airport is at your 12 o'clock 1 mile. Maintain present heading and altitude report runway in sight.
Alright. Runway is in sight. It's right in front of me. This ATC. Alright.
Maintain present heading and altitude. TPG 13.
TPG 13, you are 1 mile northwest. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors visual runway 21 approach.
Well, she's telling me maintain present heading. But if I do that,
Expect vectors visual runway 21 approach.
let's just risk it.
TPG 13.
I'm going to hold it 3,700. Wait for vectors. If we don't get vectors, we'll make our turn and do it manually. Do it ourselves. I mean, we're just flying out to sea right now. There it is. There it goes. Yeah, we would be, in any real world situation, we would be making our turn right now. Screw it, I'm just going to make the turn. I have so much respect for people that are good at those games. It's fun to watch. Okay, so they do want us at 2,000 feet. It is... it is frustrating. It can be frustrating dealing with this ATC. We'll figure it out, though. And like I said, if we have to, we can just dip out and do it our own way. There we go. And there's the localizer. Beautiful. Either way, we will be able to get on the ground safely. And I think just because they're not going to give us vectors till we're at 2,000 feet. Let's see if we can get down a little quicker. Some landing lights. Landing lights on. Everything else is good. Don't need flaps yet. Here we go. I'm just about old enough where I can't see what the hell is going on, Fried, when I watch esports. I'm just about at a point in my life where I'm like, all right, things are moving around. That's all I can really tell. A lot of moving. I'm not quite there yet. I can still follow along, but I think that'll be my cutoff. At some point, it'll just be a blur to me. And that's when I'll be old. Alright. So we should, hopefully they put us on a right turn here and we can intercept the runway heading. I hope. Well, we did get to fly the whole trip in daylight. I was hoping we'd be able to see a little bit more on the ground lit up, but ultimately I think this works just fine. No problem. Man, they got us flying to, like, Iceland here. Nova Scotia. Let's make the turn already, damn it. In fairness, though, we're only about 8 miles from the runway, which is not... I mean, in this aircraft, it's probably a little bit more approach than you need, but it's not... We're not that far out. All right, there's 2,000 feet. And again, I'm going to make an executive decision here and begin sending us back the other way. It's funny that ATC is like absolutely up your butt about altitude, but they could care less what your heading is. They don't care where you're flying to, they just care what altitude you're flying to it at. All right, we're at 2,000 feet, and they're not saying nothing. So, all right, as we cross our runway heading here, we'll make our turn. Just about like so. And we're about 9 miles out, 2,000 feet, a little bit high, but not the end of the world. Need to do a little correcting here and there, but for the most part, I think we're pretty good. Call of Duty League play? Yeah, I mean, what was the new one? What was the new one that just dropped, like 6 months ago? That was just super frantic. There was like a ton of activity, and running around. You had to... It was the one with the gulag in it. Yeah, what was that all about? All right, if ATC pops up again, we'll talk to them. But if not, we gotta do our thing. We gotta live our life here. And it is getting dark. Still no lights on yet. All right, just about right. 6 miles. Warzone, that's the one. I watched people play that, and it was making my head hurt, man. It was just so crazy. All right, and that is the runway. It's right there in front of us. I haven't heard from ATC, so we're going to come off AP and begin our descent. All right, here we go. Throw some flaps out. Landing lights are on. And I'll try to peek out the window here as we get down lower and lower. So at some point now, ATC is going to start telling us that we're below our assigned altitude. What can you do? We got just a little bit of a headwind right to left. 4 knots, not too bad, but this is a... Yeah. What can you do? I mean, they ignore us. We were flying out over the ocean, and they weren't giving us any further instruction. You got to turn at some point. You don't need a 25-mile approach in a Cessna Skyhawk. So I don't know how far they would have let us fly out there, but I got things to do, you know. So now the ATC will pester us all the way in because we're not responding to them. But if we did respond, they would tell us to like climb to 2,000 feet and fly out over the ocean. It's not there. That aspect of the game is not there. But you can turn all that stuff off. So I floated the King Air when we landed in Dublin. I'm going to try not to float this one. But these little planes with flaps out, they can go so slow. So you flare and you think, well, as I flare, I'm going to bleed off airspeed and I'm going to lose lift and it'll just settle down onto the runway. And that's not what happens. They just continue to float. And the glide ratio is so good. They're super efficient. There you go. Terminate my radar service. Yeah, look how short this runway is. I was not expecting this when I came down out of the clouds in the King Air. I did not think that we had, like, just this wee little runway. Didn't even bounce for once. All right. So the only parking at this airport is this little area down here. So I'm going to try to get it in there. Now I don't have I can't do a power back in this because I don't have reverse thrust. And I don't think you can get pushback when you're landing. So if we don't get it into a space on the first try, we're out of luck. So let's do this. Let's get rid of this. Taxi lights on, landing lights off, flaps in. Let's see where we need to go here. So if we go here, Take this one. Yeah, that's just a turnaround down there. Are there aircraft over there? I don't think there are. Try not to go in the gravel. So I think, is there room next to this? Yeah, I think there's room next to this citation right here. Let's put it right in there. Carefully. Carefully, we can't back up. There he goes. All right, so if we hop in here now, quickly set the brake. We want strobe lights off, taxi lights off, engine off. There we go. Avionics off. And there we go. We're done. Hop back in here. Cancel that alarm. Beacon lights off because the engine's off now. Nav lights off. Batteries off. Everything's off. There you have it. Right, Flight Sim 20. This is the UK and Ireland scenery pack. It's free if you own the game. You don't have to buy it, but you do have to download it. And yeah, I mean, it's a gorgeous game. How about that? We'll end it on a positive note. It is an absolutely gorgeous game. Thanks, everybody. Oh, thanks, Ernie. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. We'll do some Chellington. Good night.